For years now, lost media has been a hot topic on the internet. Typically, people have their favorite pieces, typically well-known pieces like Hitogata, Clockman, or Metropolis. Still, there are many more pieces that, while not as well known, deserve not only equal time in the spotlight, but just as much chance to be found. These are those pieces. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back, Chimera crew, to volume 71 of Lesser Known Lost Media, the show where we take lesser known pieces of lost media and give them the time they deserve here on YouTube. Now, if you're new to the show, how we do this is there are 4 family-friendly, safe-for-work pieces of lost media, followed by a 5th, spicier piece. Alright, with all that being said, let's get started. At number 1 we have Byrons' Memoirs, Lost Manuscript for Unpublished Book, 1824. Now, Byrons' Memoirs were a series of memoirs by British poet and politician Lord George Gordon Byron that was written between 1818 and 1821. Though it is not truly known what was written in the memoirs, it is speculated that it contained excerpts about his life, loves, travels, and opinions. They were never published as they were destroyed after his death. While it is unknown as to why the memoirs were destroyed, theories range from everything from saving his wife from humiliation to sabotaging his reputation. This has not stopped authors from publishing hypothetical memoirs, and to this day, no fragments from the memoirs have surfaced. Lord George Gordon Byron was born in London on January 22, 1788. Having developed feelings for his distant cousin and half-sister at the age of 15, he began to write poems expressing various romantic feelings. This is where he began to excel in writing. By 1806, he had published his first book titled Fugitive Pieces. As Lord Byron's career began to take off, many people started to notice the romantic themes in his poetry. In 1808, he was elected to the House of Lords. It was not uncommon for Lord Byron to find himself traveling to places like Venice, where he would indulge in the arts. He would also frequent the Balkans. As Greece waged war of independence against the Ottoman Empire, Lord Byron sided up with the Greek rebels. Before he could see combat, though, he died in 1824 from an infection. Now, about the memoirs themselves, as Lord Byron would travel the world, he would write down his thoughts, experiences, and opinions of where he was going. Lord Byron would frequently write to the poet Thomas Moore and publish John Murray. It is thought that the letters to the two individuals might contain excerpts of Byron's memoirs. As Lord Byron grew to trust Thomas Moore, he gave Moore the manuscripts of his memoirs. Now, Thomas Moore had sold the manuscripts of Lord Byron's memoirs to John Murray. Though there were plans to publish these after his death, instead of publishing the manuscripts, Thomas Moore went to John Murray's office in London, where they both burned the manuscripts. It is unknown why the two did this, but it is possible that Lord Byron had many scandals despite being a very well-respected poet and politician, and destroying the manuscripts would protect his widow from the backlash of these various scandals. Recent discoveries in the memories of Daisy Hay, the stepsister of Mary Shelley, back up the various scandals as she wrote about Byron getting her pregnant and then leaving her. She also went on to describe both Thomas Moore and Lord Byron as monsters. As Lord Byron was one to sleep around with other women, it is likely many accounts as described by Daisy Hay were in Lord Byron's memoirs. Now, despite having a questionable private life, Lord Byron was still very well respected among the high class in British society, and is still regarded as a great poet. Many have since attempted to recreate his memoirs and even make plays about him. Some pieces of note that are in 1972, an opera titled Lord Byron premiered, and many of the events in the opera were fictionalized. Later in 1978, author Christopher Nicole compiled an imaginative recreation of Byron's memoirs titled The Secret Memoirs of Lord Byron. In 1989, author Robert Nye published an imaginative recreation of the memoirs titled The Memoirs of Lord Byron. And in 1995, author Tom Holland published a fictional take on Lord Byron called The Vampire. being the true pilgrimage of George Gordon, in which the manuscripts of the memoirs were destroyed because Lord Byron was a vampire. Now, again, all of these are pieces of fiction, but it is definitely interesting to see that, a piece of lost media, specifically the lost memoirs of a famous individual, could inspire so much simply because we don't have them. And coming in at number 2, we have 15,000 Debullos, partially found Chilean animated film from 1942. Now, 15,000 Debullos, also known as 15,000 Debullos, meaning 15,000 drawings, is a Chilean animated feature film by Jamie Esquerdo and Juan Carlos Trupp, made between 1937 and 1942. The film details the life of Copuchita, the condor, and his friends, a Mapuche puma named Manuel, a rooster dressed up as a Chilean huaso named No Bihaiga, and Clarita, a young woman. I'm pretty sure I pronounced all of those terribly. Now, the movie was funded by friends and families of the directors. They also got the support of the CORFO, the Corporación de Fomento de la Producción, a production development corporation, and Corporación Chilena de Salitre, again, I'm so sorry. The film was created using rudimentary animation techniques and was made in the director's workshops in Lira with Marcelato in downtown Santiago. In 1941, during a Disney Goodwill tour in South America as part of the Good Neighbor policy, Walt Disney visited Chile, and saw the progress of the film. He was amazed by their simple animation techniques, and he encouraged both filmmakers to continue the project. This gave them the encouragement to finish it as a feature-length film. Now, 15,000 Debullos finally premiered in 1942. Despite being critically acclaimed on its own, primarily because it was the first Chilean animated feature film, it was overshadowed by other animated films like Fantasia and Pinocchio. After this, Carlos Trupp retrieved a copy of the film, and since then, the movie has never been seen in its entirety. In the late 1950s, filmmaker Edmundo Urita retrieved a fragment of the film and incorporated it into his documentary, Recordando. This fragment was uploaded to YouTube by Kylie Trupp, the granddaughter of Carlos Trupp. In 2001, there were plans to restore the film, but they haven't yet been confirmed. On January 7, 2023, the Centro Cultural La Monda, abbreviated as CCLM, announced on their website that an open-air outdoor screening of 50,000 Debullos alongside another critically acclaimed animated Chilean short film, Bestia, will take place at the Pasos Bulenes in Santiago City in Chile on January 12th of 2023. In addition, 7 minutes of more footage from the film is available on their site as well. However, so far, the full film has not been made available to the rest of the public. I could not find whether or not that screening actually took place. I mean, it's easy to see why this one is interesting. Not only is it the first ever Chilean animated feature film, but it even got the thumbs up from Walt Disney himself, so this one, it's pretty cool. At number 3, we have the 1974 NBA AllStar game, which is a lost NBA game played in Seattle, circa, you guessed it, 1974. Now, I'm not a basketball fan myself, but basketball season did just start here in the States a couple days ago, so I figured, hey, why not some basketball? So, the 1974 NBA All-Star Game, held on January 15th of 1974 at the Seattle Center Coliseum in Seattle, Washington, remains an intriguing event in basketball history due to its lost televised broadcast. Featuring star athletes like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bob Lanier, and John Havlicek, the Eastern Conference defeated the Western Conference with a final score of 134 to 123. Bob Lanier, who scored 24 points and grabbed 10 rebounds, was named the game's MVP. Despite the historical significance of this game, the full televised broadcast has never been made publicly available, leaving fans and historians searching for any existing footage. Now, about the original broadcast, the 1974 NBA All-Star Game was aired nationally by CBS Sports. marking one of the network's early ventures into broadcasting major NBA events. The commentary team for the game likely included prominent CBS announcers from the era, though specific details about the broadcast team are not well documented. Unfortunately, as with many television programs from the 1970s, the game's broadcast appears to have been either lost, destroyed, or taped over in the years following its initial airing. Archiving practices in the 1970s often prioritized reuse of expensive tape reels, and it is possible that CBS reused the tapes, a common industry practice at the time. As to the availability, while partial highlight reels and select moments from the game have occasionally surfaced in NBA documentaries or sports retrospectives, no full broadcast of the 1974 NBA AllStar game has been discovered or digitized. The game's absence from the archives presents a notable gap, especially as it features several future Hall of Fame players, as well as Bob Lanier's standout performance helped him claim the game's MVP award, adding to his legacy in a season that saw him as one of the NBA's top big men. I also apologize if I'm not saying the names correctly, as I do not know anything about basketball. Now, without full footage, basketball enthusiasts and historians rely on written accounts and fragmented video clips to piece together the game's flow and key moments. Publications such as Sports Illustrated and the New York Times provided contemporary game reports which offer some insight into the match, but without visual records, the game's atmosphere, style of play, and broadcast experience remain lost. However, the search is ongoing. Several possibilities exist regarding the potential rediscovery of the game's full broadcast. CBS Sports Archives may hold the original tapes, though they could remain undigitized or misfiled. Other potential sources include private collectors, as early home video recording systems such as Betamax and VHS were becoming more common at the time. Enthusiasts or collectors may have taped the game live, and such footage could still exist in private collections. Local Seattle TV stations, particularly those that covered the AllStar game locally or in post-game recaps, may have retained portions of the broadcast or secondary coverage. Efforts to preserve early NBA broadcasts have increased in recent years, raising hope that lost broadcasts like this one may eventually surface. The 1974 NBA All-Star Game is a notable example of lost media within sports broadcasting. Its absence from digital archives highlights the challenges of media preservation, especially in an era when archiving practices were less robust. The game's rediscovery would fill a key gap in basketball history, providing fans and scholars with a visual record of one of the sport's important moments. As of now, the full broadcast remains unrecovered. However, with continued interest in sports history and media archiving, there is hope that one day the footage may be found. And honestly, gonna have to take the writer's word on it for this one. Again, not a basketball fan, but I can definitely see the value in a missing All-Star game. Definitely fans of basketball would want that to be found. Enough said, I guess. At number 4, we have The Adventures of Snail, a partially lost Canadian puppet TV series circa 1979 to 1980. Now, The Adventures of Snail is a 1979 Canadian puppet TV series. It was created by D.W. Reed Film Company and was voiced by Helen Bowalda, Joyce Clark, and Barry McLean. It originally debuted in Canada on CHCH-TV from September 22nd of 1979 until at least April 5th of 1980, but it also aired in New Zealand on TVNZ and the United States on syndication. The series follows the underwater village of Snailsville and its gastropod inhabitants. Some parts of the series were released on VHS by Imtex Entertainment, based in Prior Lake, Minnesota. Additionally, some parts were released on VHS by Family Home Entertainment. These tapes are rare today, and it is unclear how much content was released for home media. Currently of this show, we have about 10 episodes that have been found and one TV special. However, according to a poster that was sold on eBay and from the time, we learned that there are 130 episodes of the show and 10 TV specials, meaning that the majority of this show is lost. This is very interesting to me because, simply put it, I mean, this show clearly put out quite a bit, and for so much of it to go missing, especially when people at the time, there were home media recordings. Definitely this would have been a show that kids would have, had their parents tape for them. I'm surprised we have not uncovered more, but the search continues. Alright guys, and I know a lot of you come here specifically for this. It is time for the spicy entry, and today's spicy entry is The Commune, a lost Manson family inspired film from 1970. The Commune was a 1970 film directed by Monroe Beeler based on the crimes of the Manson family, released on March 11, 1970, just 7 months after the Tate LaBianca murders. The film holds the title of being quite possibly the first film based on the crimes. Very little is known about it, other than it apparently had its premiere at the Arrows Theater, now the New Beverly Cinema, in Los Angeles, California, on March 11, 1970. The film later played at the Nob Hill Theater in San Francisco. Now, a little background on the film. Monroe Beeler was known for directing gay schmornographic films and showing them at theaters in the San Francisco area. Possibly wanting to cash in on the recent murders, Beeler filmed and released The Commune in 1970. Although Beeler was known primarily for directing schmornography, it's been stated that the film may not have been schmornographic in nature, and rather that it was basically just a straight exploitation feature that only played at the porn-centric Nob Hill Theater due to the fact that Beeler owned the theater at the time. While it is known that the film premiered on March 11th at the Arrows Theater and played later that same month at Nob Hill, due to the obscure release, it is unknown how long the runtime was or if it was a critical success. There was an advertisement for The Commune taken out in the Los Angeles Times, and an ad for the film was also taken out in the Honolulu Star-Bulletin in April of 1970. Listings for a film titled Love in the Commune appeared in the San Francisco Examiner and Los Angeles Times in March of 1970. Love in the Commune played at the Nob Hill Theater on the 20th and 21st, just days after The Commune was confirmed as playing there. The LA Times listings states that the film played at the Arrows Theater in late March, the same theater where The Commune premiered, and the Paris Theater in late March and early April. Based on all this, it seems likely that Love in the Commune and The Commune are the same film, and that there may even be, the full title of the film may have been Love and Murder in the Commune. That also may explain why in some cases it was just The Commune or Love in the Commune, as papers of the time may have been hesitant to print the word murder. A similar example of this can be seen in the infamous adult film titled Bat Pussy, existing advertisements for which print the title as Batwoman or Bat Brood, among others. It's also worth noting that both the March 6 LA Times ad and the Honolulu ad simply print the title as The Commune. Another interesting point about this film is that the cast list is known, but it's not known who they played in the film. The cast list reads as follows: Eric Burney, John Chavez, Nancy Gold, Robert Harvey, who was the former bass player of Jefferson Airplane and was credited as Robert Harry, Nancy Kinberg, Ronald McTash, Joanne Nelson, Shirley Nixon, Enrico Bazzini, Candy Rogers, Joan Stormer, and Larry Watts, though again, who they played in the film remains unknown. So what is available of this film? Well, like many other low-budget films of that era, The Commune was not widely known outside of certain communities in California. Due to this, it is unknown if The Commune saw any home releases or local theatrical re-releases, and as of right now, no footage from the film has surfaced. While the film is not available, its impact was notable in the fact the release of The Commune started a trend in the film industry from 1971 until 1979 of films based on the Manson family crimes. These films were all locally released in various regions of the United States from local releases like The Commune. While most were obscure, others such as Snuff garnered huge attention and are now considered cult classics. I think this one is interesting for two reasons, as it definitely showcases two things that are very true of the film industry, and one is that sensationalism and true crime, ripped from the headlines type stuff is still quite popular in circles, as well as never underestimate the ability of an adult filmmaker to put out a full release in record amount of time. I remember there being a very funny example of this when Final Fantasy 15 came out and everybody was gushing over the mechanic NPC in the game Cindy. In less than a month from the game's release, I can't remember which one it was, but one of the big adult websites had already put out a full sex parody featuring someone dressed up as the mechanic from Final Fantasy 15. So in less than a month, they put a script together, hired actors, made costumes, picked a filming location, and shot two people going at it as if they were from the Final Fantasy universe. So again, 7 months after the horrific crimes of the Manson family, there was a film inspired by it. Like, that's some impressive turnaround time. I'm just saying. And that's our show today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to tune in Monday for the next episode of Recovered Relics, where we talk about found media. Be sure to tune in on Wednesday for our Wildcard Wednesday episode. It could be just about anything. And of course, be sure to tune in next Friday for Volume 72, where also I will be announcing the winners of last week's giveaway. If you'd like to help the show monetarily, please consider joining the Patreon, becoming a YouTube member, or just heading on over to eBay or Mercari and perhaps purchasing one of my custom miniatures. And as always, one of the best ways to help the channel monetarily is simply to watch the videos in its entirety. Watch any ads that come up. Please do. Please turn that ad blocker off and share the channel with your friends. We are monetized now. So again, the more people that watch these videos, the better it is for me, the more content I can make. Until next time, everybody, I'm Mr. Sean. This is Chimera Miniatures, and I sincerely hope that you alpha a great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We've got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud. Welcome to the show, we hope you'll stick around. Mr. Sean is here to entertain the crowd. We got a bit of everything, 'cause everything's allowed. Chimera Miniatures is here to stay, we hope we make you proud.